Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you.
Listen,
You're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Hey everybody, welcome. Happy Friday night. Welcome to Rob Nelson Live. I might be having some tech glitches. I tried to come on Taylor Ferber's show at the end. We were going to do what, they call it the handoff, and boy, the handoff didn't happen. The AI got in the way. We're going to talk about AI a little tonight, but if all goes south, I won't drag you all through it. If I just get sticky, I'll move on. Everything will be fixed by Monday, though. I'm doing a complete tech overhaul here. I want to start out with a couple things. The investigation merry-go-round, that's what I'm going to call it. Andrew Bates was a Biden spokesperson. And, the Oversight Committee, James Comer and Congress, the Republicans, have been kind of bringing everybody in and going through everything and trying to dig up who knew what and the auto pen. Did Biden know? Did Biden not know? Who knew Biden was in decline? I don't know. It's a waste of time. Do you really think people are going to come out? It's like the Epstein thing. Although I do think there might be something still there with Epstein. But is anybody going to come out? Anybody and say, yeah, I knew and I covered it up. Are you kidding me? They'd perjure themselves before they do that. They're in way more trouble if they say they knew Biden was in decline. They were shoving auto pen signatures that he wasn't doing, making laws he didn't know about. I don't know, military strikes, who the F knows? They're going to say that? No, they're going to say, no, he seemed fine to me. They can't really prove they're perjuring themselves. They're going to just say, I don't know, he seemed in charge. Like, it's my opinion. But anyway, Andrew Bates said, and they leaked his opening statement while he was in the private meeting with them. He accused Republicans of spending taxpayer dollars investigating Joe Biden. Quote, an honorable man under whom the economy performed far better than it is today, while turning a blind eye to the corruption under Donald Trump. Then he referred to Trump's tariffs. I guess that's Trump corruption. Illegally trying to take over the Fed, and the president's personal investments in crypto and getting the jet from Qatar, among other things. I just want to say, well, first of all, and it's not illegal to want to take over the Fed. And people have tried to manipulate the Fed. Presidents have tried to mess with the Fed forever. And there's a whole argument of really what role the Fed should play and does play and should it play. But every president's tried to gain control over all the apparatus of power under them. Trump happens to be better at it than some, more transparent than all of them. He just comes right out and says, I'm doing it. Like everybody else pretends, hides behind the scenes. And I will say this. Well, first I'll say this about Andrew Bates and the investigation roulette, merry-go-round. This is silly, and it's silly in both directions. First of all, for Andrew Bates, come on. How much investigating did you guys do of Trump when he was president his first term? You impeached him twice. He was under constant investigation. Hoaxes made up. Whole manufactured out of whole secret FBI, CIA cloth, and Hillary Clinton campaign. And then when he wasn't president, you investigated him. You spent, I don't even remember anymore what the special counsel, Robert Mueller's counsel cost, but I think it was like, wasn't it like 400 million? Am I getting that number? Is that crazy? I think it was. It took 2 years. I mean, that was our money. Sorry, to investigate a hoax. So I don't think it's a hoax that Biden was only half there. I think it's pretty obvious to all of us, including the people inside. And some may have plausible deniability. We didn't know exactly what was happening because we were shielded from it too. But at a certain level, come on, you could see what we could see on TV. Were you shielded from him stumbling off into the woods? Were you shielded from watching Obama literally to walk him off stage to like, here to go this way, don't dot her off? I mean, like, it was in front of our faces all the time. He'd wander around, he'd like looking up in the sky, like it felt bad. So I don't buy that even if they weren't given full access, they knew. But they're not going to say it. And what's the point of wasting the money? He's right about that. This investigation to do what? To prove what? And then when Democrats get back in power, they'll do their investigations. All of the investigating merry-go-rounds is using our money for nothing. We know you don't like each other. We know you both think each other are guilty of corruption and deviance and illegal acts. And to some extent, there's truth in all of it. I will say, I think, obviously, I'm defending Trump here. I mean, I've said before what he endured for 8 years and the amount of it that was just scammed at the highest government level. FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago, SWAT team kind of stuff. That alone, the New York case where he, as I said before about his that he overvalued Mar-a-Lago and it's really only worth 18 million. How stupid are we? Of course, if Mar-a-Lago is not worth $18 million. Are you joking? If it is, if he wants to sell it for 18 million, I'll come up with 18 million. I'll get family and friends and be like, guys, we find 18 million because we're buying ourselves a property that's worth like 300 million more, probably a bit 400, 500, I don't know. But the whole overvaluing thing was such a scam. And then on top of it, the banks would agree to whatever deals he made, and he'd say do due diligence on your own, and they did or didn't, and came back for more deals and made money. The whole thing to me was a scam. So those, all those investigations, all those trials, those are publicly paid for, and the people doing it, and the courts, and the massive congressional investigations. So it's gone both ways, and I'm just tired of it. So I think both sides need to stop with the silly investigating. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And it's that simple. Stop with the silly investigations, but they won't, and they'll keep standing on their high horses. And Fox will yell how loud and clear how good Comer's doing, and CNN did, and MSNBC back in the day about Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff. Boy, Adam Schiff's a crook. That guy is kind of a crook. But again, we're never going to prove most of it, so move on. Do real things that matter to us. Okay, I'm going to take a real shift here. I'm going away for a minute from American politics. Something interesting happened with Russia. I didn't even know about this. They have the thing called I know about this, the Coalition of the Willing. It's us and Ukraine and the European countries, NATO. They met on Thursday in Paris and then had a call with Trump. And Zelensky, in addition to Zelensky learned his lesson. It's like, yeah, kiss Trump's ass a little. He's like, I'd like to give special thanks to President Trump for all his efforts to end this war. But it's fair. He has made real efforts. Don't know that he's going to. Anyway, at the Coalition of the Willing, Zelensky announces 26 countries commit to security guarantees for Kiev. So this means after the war, right? We can't bring Ukraine into NATO. That will literally flip the switch for Russia. So it's saying, well, we're going to do something because you're going to just come back and do it again. Word isn't worth it. You did it in 2014. You annexed stuff. Then you did this 3 years ago. You're going to do it. So we got to put in security guarantees. Well, what does that look like? Well, it looks like weapons and troops. It's that simple. Troops on the ground. Doesn't have to be our troops, but it's going to be European troops. We're not going to put them in NATO, but we're going to be a backstop so you can't come in, again, Russia. And Emmanuel Macron, the French president, says its commitment as potential deployments, quote, by land, sea, or air. Now, that's after the hostilities end, not now, after peace treaty. And Trump, meanwhile, made the same point, which I've been making, a lot of people are making. Europe's got to stop buying oil. I didn't know how much they buy, but Russia's gotten like over $1 billion in fuel sales in European Union calculation, EU dollars basically. But that's a lot in 1 year. So it's not close to China and India, but Europe's got to stop buying oil from Russia too. here's where it gets a little scary. Putin on Friday said that any military deployed from the West to Ukraine would be legitimate targets for defeat. He said, so if any troops appear there, especially during the ongoing hostilities, we assume they will be legitimate targets for defeat. I mean, Russia's saying you can't put troops in there. I don't see how this ends without European countries putting troops in. I mean, Russia did that in August, did that massive drone assault. They're attacking Kiev like crazy. And remember in the assault in August, they hit a U.S. company. I wrote it down. It's called Flex Electronics. And there were casualties and, all that. But it was American workers, too, in there. And it showed you Putin knew what he was doing. They were hitting a U.S. economic target inside Ukraine. It's like, to him, it's all fair game. It's heavy for a Friday night, and I don't know how it ends. I want to go a little lighter, but I thought it was worth pointing out. So on a slightly lighter note, but still international, I switch hats. I'm wearing a blue shirt, by the way. I never do. I've worn a black shirt for 4 years broadcasting stuff. I'm lightening it up. I'm putting on my dictator hat for Maduro, Venezuelan dictator, strong man. Remember we shot the ship, the little craft with the 12 people out of the water. So he flew 2 jets near a U.S. Navy ship. They just buzzed over it in international waters. And the U.S. military, posted to X basically, the cartel running Venezuela. That's not what they call it. The cartel is running the country. The cartel running Venezuela is strongly advised not to pursue any further effort to obstruct, deter, or interfere with our counter narcotics and counter terrorism operations carried out by the U.S. military. I don't know if they'll take that warning or not. The whole thing, that is almost comical. Venezuela, the whole thing, it's comical unless you are from there or grew up there a long time ago. It was an amazing country, an amazing economy, and Madero's down the tubes. All right. I did say I'm going to get a little lighter. I'm getting there. This is a funny one. CBS abruptly yesterday or today, I don't know which it was, announced that they will Face the Nation will no longer do edited interviews. Remember, I talked about it when Kristi Noem went on and they cut out the whole thing where she described the MS-13 thug. I don't even want to call him by his name. He's a crappy person. And as far as I'm concerned, you beat your wife multiple times, that right there does it for me. Like you're done. When you beat her to a point where she's scared for her life, beat her, period. But I'm saying that alone, then traffic human beings, then be part of a violent gang in El Salvador and probably here. I don't know. So you're done. You're certainly done being in my country. But they cut the whole thing out and just used the part that she didn't really say the juicy stuff. CBS said we will no longer do it. We will use all live interviews or live to tape, meaning it won't be edited. It might not air right then, but what will air will be the entire thing that got said. Should have done that a long time ago. And this, I'll give credit to Trump, his threatening to sue CBS for the Kamala Harris thing. These legal threats seem to work. So I thought that was fascinating. Okay, one more, not so on the light side before I can't help myself. Tylenol stocks plummeted today because it came out, and it's not definite, but it seems like a legitimate thing, came out that Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Health and Human Services is going to release a report in the next few weeks showing that Tylenol in pregnant women leads to autism. I mean, in their babies, or it can be a major contributing factor, along with certain other things as well. Tylenol doesn't, well, the company's Kenvue, it's the parent of Tylenol, but it just went like 14% Friday afternoon. Maybe because they know it's true. Maybe just because everybody's like, oh, when that comes out, that'll be it. I'm an Advil guy, just going to be honest, but I think this whole autism thing needs to be looked at. So technically, I would qualify as being very high on, we call it the spectrum, right? I would be very high. Like I'd be in the Aspergery camp. And I've gotten a lot better. So people who don't know me or people watching me broadcasting wouldn't suspect. But if you know me well, you'd see all the traits. And when I was a kid, you saw all of them. Reactions to sound, saying the same thing over and over out loud when you're upset, frustration if things change, time plans change even a little, can just send my brain into a spin. I'm not as bad as, people lower on the level. And socially, I used to always, you didn't want me at a dinner party. I would always say the most inappropriate thing. And people would be like, you just said what or asked what? And I'd be like, why was that? Was that bad? Like, it seemed okay to ask them that, like, what? I asked the couple across the table that I just met if they had their sex was bad because did they fight too much or whatever it would be. And people would be like, you just met them. I'm like, yeah. So anyway, I think though, the number of people with autism, kids, it's gone up. I mean, we can't deny it. It's gone up, 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 up. And it's not just like people saying my kid has ADHD. That is a thing, and everybody says their kid has it, and every kid says they have it, some version of attention deficit disorder. And I'm kind of like, well, I think we all have it a little bit. And with today's device world, our brains are, especially young people, your brain's going boop, 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 boop. It is hard your brain's being wired by social media not to pay attention more than 10 seconds. Nobody under 25 is watching this show. They tuned out a long time ago. They might watch the social clips. Thank you very much to those of you who are sticking around a little bit longer. But something's causing it. And I don't know if it's in vaccines. Everyone's like so convinced one way or the other. It isn't. Well, people are getting scared of vaccines. So I think Kennedy's point has always been, we don't test them thoroughly enough. The pharmaceuticals literally are in the back pocket of our government's top people in various key governmental positions and agencies, and in some cases with elected officials, but certainly inside the agencies, the CDC, the DHS, all that stuff, and HHS, the Health and Human Services. So at some level, it's a mistrusting situation. The pharmaceuticals don't care about your well-being; they care about profits. They want massive profits. And if something won't get them profits, they're not going to do it. And can be really ugly and disgusting. I mean, I made a movie. Check it out if you want. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Magnificent Burden. It's a documentary I directed. It's pretty good. I'm just say biased, but and it's about these kids who have a deadly disease called spinal muscular atrophy. Basically, they're born, they're normal, and then, well, in some cases, they're so bad they're not even then. But usually after a number of months, they start going from normal to not, and they can't make any protein, so their bodies can't develop muscles, so they get weaker and weaker and weaker, and then they're crippled and then die younger, or sometimes very young. It's a deadly thing, and there was no cure for it. There was just potential. And in the movie, the primary person, it built around a little kid, Ren, who's just this amazing little kid, and Stanley. He'd wear Spider-Man shirts and say, I'm Peter Parker. He couldn't barely walk, but he's like a Peter Parker. He internalized Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Stanley actually wrote a thing for the movie because of that. Stanley created Spider-Man. But basically, there was an experimental drug. And this one mid-sized pharmaceutical company did want to get a good drug out. But at the end of the day, we went through the FDA and the whole process, and their real concern wasn't, it was money. It was money. And one wrong test, giving it to a kid that might save that kid's life, could mean that the test didn't look right, and therefore the pharmaceutical company wouldn't get approval, and therefore they wouldn't make their money and get the drug out. It all came down to that. There was a family that had a kid that could only move his eyes and I think his fingers. And the insurance company denied him access to a flatbed wheelchair, saying he didn't need it because they knew he'd just die sooner than spend the costs. And at some level, pharmaceutical companies, they don't want you to buy cheap generics. They want you to have to buy premium drugs. So are vaccines causing autism? I don't know. I don't think we really do know fully yet. We do know that we need more vaccine safety, and COVID didn't help. Better testing. Wow. I've done a horrible job at being more lighthearted, haven't I? Okay, here we go. I'm going to do some slightly more lighthearted things. Sports and airplanes. Okay, I've noticed this. There's a trend. More and more athletes are getting aggro, just like people on airplanes are getting aggro. It's like we're all heating up. The temperature, like my computer that shut down before, overheated, slowed down when I was trying to do the handoff with Taylor. And it won the fights on the airlines. Everybody's doing shit on airlines. I'm still lucky that I haven't been on a plane where it's happened and they've dragged the plane back or gone to another airport and taken someone off in handcuffs. But you see it all the time. It's not fake. It's not AI. It's people are like really intolerant. And that in the plane hits. Like I was wondering, when you see something, then you see more of it. I was like, am I just seeing it more? But no, more and more planes are having near misses. More and more planes are having parts fall off. I guess they're older. That makes sense, right? And some of it's an overreaction. Like the 2 American planes, one was getting towed and the tow thing broke and it rolled backwards and bumped the other plane. And neither plane was moving very fast. They were like, one's literally being towed. The other one was parked. So, yes, it's a huge, huge thing hitting another thing. So I'm sure it was good. But people said it was like being in an earthquake and like, okay, whatever. Like they got them all off the 2 planes and put them on 2 new planes. Some of it's a little exaggerated. But the one where the helicopter went down and hit the plane, that wasn't exaggerated. That's a whole bunch of dead people in the water. So I don't know what's going on with that. Why are more and more planes having near misses? It makes me wonder if we're in a simulation. I don't know. And why are more and more athletes getting into it with each other? I'm finding fascinating. So there are a couple fun little stories here. So we can do, this is the fun stuff, I promise. The Astros have a star pitcher, and he was going to throw a pitch, and the catcher waved him off, like, don't do it. He could see the batter adjusting, figuring out that I think he knew he was going to throw a fastball, and like, don't do it. Like the catcher's like, don't. The pitcher, being arrogant and stubborn, throws his 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and the batter knocks in like 2-run home run. And essentially, they win the game, not right then, but that's not the point. What happens next is fascinating. The pitcher hits his own catcher. You can't make it up. He literally hurdles a ball intentionally where the batter won't get it to hit his catcher right in the chest. Now, he didn't hit him in the head, and the catcher's got a big vest on, so it's not going to really hurt. It's still probably kind of jarring, but it wasn't like he was like, but he hit his own catcher with like a 95-mile-an-hour pitch intentionally. And it's really obvious he intentionally did it. The catcher gets up and moves forward toward the thing and just like doesn't look to him like, F you, dude. Like, seriously, get a grip. You threw the pitch I told you not to throw. But I'm like, wow, he just hit his own catcher. That's like angry. Now we're fighting amongst the team here. I mean, they're the good old days. You never want to hear the good old days, But did you ever see that clip, just to digress, of, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan had this thing, Kobe always wanted to be as good as Michael Jordan, and he looked up to him, but was so fiercely competitive. And when they ever played together, the end of Jordan's career, it was intense competition. And there's one clip, I wish I had it and I'd show it to you, but not tonight, where he essentially knocks Michael Jordan down. And it's his fault. It's a Kobe Bryant foul. He just plows him through him with his elbow, and Jordan goes down on the ground. And he's not flopping. And Kobe looks around, and immediately another teammate of Michael Jordan's comes to like get over him and pull him up, like, to get him off the ground, and kind of elbows Kobe back. And Kobe Bryant reaches around the guy, the younger teammate guy of Michael Jordan's, and pushes him out of the way. Climbs over Michael Jordan, both legs on either side, puts his hands down, takes Michael Jordan's wrists and hands, pulls him up, like pats him on the butt, and they laugh at each other. I thought that's what it should be like, not what happened Thursday night at the Eagles opener. Been so much drama from night one of NFL. We got cultural drama, we got team drama, we got the Cowboys who gave up their best defensive player to my Green Bay Packers. Thank you very much for that, Jerry Jones. And the Eagles in a rivalry showdown. Before the game, what we saw happen was the Eagles' best defensive player, Jalen Carter, spits on Dak Prescott, the Cowboys quarterback. He spits right on him. It's not like he spits right into his chest. And he gets ejected immediately. The game hadn't even started. It's a warm-up. They hadn't even started the clock and immediately gets ejected for the game. And probably will get another game suspension. It's like you can't spit on the other team. There's funny how it's like Mortal Kombat, but here's the rules. You're sportsmanlike. You can bust his bones if it's fair, but you don't spit on him. What we didn't see is that Dak Prescott had spit first, but not at a person. He was kind of jostling verbally with the Cowboys line, and he wanted to spit. And a lot of quarterbacks and players spit. Baseball players spit before, but whatever. And he said afterward, I didn't want to spit on my own lineman, so I spit on the ground. And Jalen Carter saw it as a spit towards his team, went up, got into it verbally with Zach, said, don't disrespect us, and then spit on Dak Prescott. Just called him Zach, sorry. And then the lift every voice and sing thing. I don't get all of it. It's just so much extra drama. And I heard what Taylor Ferber said, and I agree. Like, on some level, who cares? You want to sing the Black National Anthem, go ahead. Everyone doesn't need to get all worked up about it. It's not, and I don't know, like it came out of Black Lives Matter and the whole thing. And that was too much too. The whole Black Lives Matter thing, it ended up, it never works. I mean, it doesn't really restore anything. And it just made everybody feel bad and everybody feel entitled to make everybody feel bad and more resentment. And the real racists out there just got more racist and more convinced. And the non-racists just got more embarrassed and probably took on some unconscious racism because they're pissed. And did it really help Black lives? No. Did it go into the inner city communities where I worked and make those kids' lives better? Clean up their streets? No. Actually, the National Guard might be doing that. I'm wearing my military hat. Trump might like that. But I could care less if she's saying it. I didn't mind the kneeling either. I thought it was stupid. I mean, I thought it was disrespectful, the kneeling, because the point of the anthem was to respect American troops, men and women who served and are serving. And, you don't have to use this public place to kneel down to protest America and the flag, because it's kind of, like I said, you're really also protesting the men and women who are fighting on your behalf. That said, I had no problem people ultimately did it. Free speech. And I had no problem if a team said, if you do it, we'll dump you. It's a private company. They could say no. The NFL went so woke on that stuff and they lost people. Going woke doesn't work. When are people going to get the message? Go woke, you go broke. It really doesn't work. And it doesn't accomplish what it's supposed to accomplish, which is the crazy part. It doesn't actually do anything, which is what's so goofy. It doesn't actually accomplish anything at all. I mean, really, somebody tell me the measurable gains we got from Black Lives Matter. Show me all the lives that were changed for the better. I remember interviewing a guy who led the biggest march in LA. There was thousands of people. He was Black, activist, and gay. It was an interesting combination. And I remember interviewing him. He came on an old show I did. And I said about all the white people saying, sort of with their white, their black squares and all. He's like, if I never see another black square from a white person, I'll be fine. He was kind of like, I'm not asking you to all fight this fight. And you're not really even fighting our fight. You're just feeling good about yourselves, virtue signaling justice, whatever. And yeah. And since then, we certainly haven't gone forward. I wouldn't say Black and white relationships have gotten better on the whole, or Black communities have improved from any of it. So I don't know. Does singing lift every voice and sing? Does it work? I don't know. The stupid part is they had the audio of everyone in the stands going at the same time. So on the feed, you heard her singing with thousands of disparate voices talking. I'm like, well, at least give her a clean audio take, right? Wouldn't that make sense? All right. Total sidebar. Dirks Bentley says that he sleeps in another bedroom from his wife of 29 years. They met when they were like in 5th grade or something. But it's not because they don't like each other, unattracted. It's because he can't sleep and it drives her nuts. She's a sensitive sleeper. But I related to it because I don't sleep. I have a hard time sleeping. I'm not an insomniac. My brain just is going. And I mean, when I go to sleep, I'll sleep. But I stay up all the time. So I don't know. That was just a personal sidebar. Okay, this is another last fun one. I won't have time for everything I want to do. I did want to give a shout out to First Lady Melania Trump, First Lady, because she held the artificial intelligence meeting at the White House. The Google CEO Sundar Pichai was there, among others. She's big on education. It's called the White House Task Force on Artificial Intelligence Education. We're all going to need artificial intelligence education, me included. I'm having a company that's making like a customized AI agent bot for me, and I got to learn a lot about AI quickly. We all do. Good for her for wanting to get it into kids. I just think it's funny because she's like, you know, I hate the idea that first ladies always have to do something that's sort of like, you can't be substantive. At least education's a good one, but this is an even better one with AI. My favorite part, though, is then for dinner, Trump had all the tech titans there for a dinner in the new Rose Garden where they ripped up the grass and put down like stones. I haven't actually seen it. I used to love the Rose Garden grass. I thought it was awesome. And I will just share quickly my one best White House story. Pre 9/11. So I don't know what happened to me now. I was at a meeting with Clinton in the White House, and I was waiting in the upper residence for him. And I went out so I could see the Rose Garden, and looked out. It's so cool. It's that balcony, right? And there's grass. That was grass until like a month ago. And I imagine what it's like. And I'd driven in before. I'd driven in the back entrance in the motorcade. But it was cool to look down. And I started walking on the ledge. It's a real wide concrete ledge. Just like walking. I got up on it, was walking just for fun. I don't know, kooky. It was 9 at night, whatever. And I hear a voice above me, and it's a woman with a big ass gun in her arms. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just walking." I said, I'm not a threat. Don't shoot me. She said, "I'm not going to shoot you. And I'm up here manning the anti-aircraft guns. You're least of my problems, but I don't want you to fall off and break a leg. So you mind getting down?" That's my little story. I'll save what happened next with Clinton, because that's a fun one. I will just tease up the end. I'm one of the smaller number of people who can say as a badge of honor, I had a president of the United States get right in my face, stick his finger in my face, and just be yelling away because he was frustrated. And it ended up working out in my favor. All right, how about that for a way to end it? Oh, I got to do this last one. Should I save it? No. Trump says he's giving serious thoughts to taking away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. She is not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so. He wrote on True Social. I just love it. He obviously can't take away her citizenship. It doesn't work that way. And he knows it. But I love that he's like, we're thinking about it. Trump loves to troll. And when the left realizes it, they're falling for the trolling, and they're getting more angry and more angry and more angry. It ain't helping. And it ain't getting them more votes, and it ain't making them happy. Like, pretty soon everyone on the left is going to be a bunch of really miserable, unhappy people. That used to be the ultra conservatives on the right like 30 years ago. As Bill Maher likes to say, we switched. He's like, even pot now. Trump's talking about declassifying it a notch down, or lowering the classification. It's like he's like, they're taking that from us. Something to think about. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen, if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.